What if decades-old gold lay trapped beneath rust and silence, waiting to rewrite history? The Yukon's ghost dredge wasn't just abandoned. It was a vault of secrets. When the salvage team first arrived, the frozen river whispered beneath their boots, every crunch of ice echoing a tale untold. The Draga, this massive relic of an era when men chased fortune through icy torrents, stood half-swallowed by time. Its hull, scarred and weathered, suggested stories buried deeper than rust. The initial plan seemed straightforward: buy the dredge, confirm ownership with some old mining titles, and start the salvage. But the first glimpse at the paperwork was more than bureaucratic red tape. It hinted at forgotten claims and contested rights. The title wasn't just a piece of paper. It was a key, unlocking decades of tangled history between prospectors and government agencies. As the team pored over faded maps and brittle documents in the cramped cabin of their truck, tension grew. Could they really own this ghostly giant? The air was thick with anticipation as old black-and-white photographs surfaced. They showed men in heavy coats standing proudly beside this very dredge, their faces smeared with grease but eyes gleaming with hope. These images weren't just nostalgic artifacts. They were proof that the dredge had once thrived, hauling gold from the depths. Yet something else caught their eye, a hidden compartment hinted at in one photo's shadowy corner. Returning to the site, the team's boots sank into thawing mud as the sun struggled through gray clouds. The dredge loomed like a sleeping beast. Every creak of its metal frame was a reminder that beneath this decay lay potential treasures. Then came the unexpected discovery. Inside the hull, hidden from sight for decades, was a drum filled with concentrated ore, gold trapped in rock and sediment since the dredge last operated. This discovery flipped their mission upside down. The drum wasn't just valuable, it represented a direct link to history. But handling such material wasn't simple. Chain of custody rules demanded meticulous documentation to ensure any future sale wouldn't be challenged by those laying claim decades ago, or worse, by modern regulators wary of unreported mining finds. The team meticulously cataloged every detail: weight, composition, photographs under varying light conditions to capture even trace amounts of gold shimmer. The air smelled faintly metallic mixed with damp earth, as if the drum exhaled centuries of hidden wealth with every careful lift. Each movement was slow and deliberate. One wrong step could compromise not only the ore but their entire legal claim. Back at camp, debates flared over how to proceed. Sell immediately, attempt refining, or preserve it as a historic artifact. Then came an idea no one expected: a fundition that could process this unique concentrate efficiently while setting records for purity and recovery rates. The process was grueling. Temperatures soared within roaring furnaces while molten metal danced like liquid fire in crucibles. The team watched breathless as raw sediment transformed into gleaming bars, stamped with assay marks confirming unprecedented gold content. This wasn't just an industrial victory. It was a resolution to a decades-old mystery about just how rich that forgotten drum truly was. But what did this mean for the legend of the Yukon ghost dredge? Was it simply a relic finally redeemed by modern science? Or did it unlock new questions about lost fortunes still hidden beneath northern skies? As whispers spread among locals and historians alike, rumors swirled about other caches buried by miners who vanished without trace. Could there be more drums hidden within that rusted hull? Was this only the first chapter in a larger saga spanning generations? And what risks would surface if others sought to claim what lay beneath frozen rivers and forgotten claims? As night fell over the Yukon wilderness, stars blinked cold above like distant watchful eyes. The team gathered around campfires, voices low with awe and speculation. Each crackle echoed uncertainty as much as triumph. Had they really uncovered all secrets locked inside that ghostly dredge? Or was history still holding its breath for what came next? Will they dare dive deeper into those murky waters? How far would they go to protect their claim while chasing shadows cast long ago? The answers lie just beyond reach, for now. If you think uncovering lost treasure is all about luck and digging deep, wait until you hear what comes next in this saga. Stick around, there's more mystery waiting beneath that rusty hull than anyone imagined. Beneath the rusted hull of the Yukon Dredge, a secret waited, silent, hidden for decades. As the salvage crew peeled back layers of corroded steel, the faint glint of metal drums emerged, tucked away like forgotten treasure chests. The air smelled of damp earth and old oil, the weight of history pressing down with each cautious breath. What lay inside those drums could rewrite the story of this ghostly machine and the gold it once chased. The first drum's lid creaked open, releasing a cloud of stale dust that danced in the shaft of sunlight cutting through the gloom. Inside, tightly packed bags shimmered faintly, nuggets and concentrates preserved against time's relentless decay. The team's excitement was palpable, but so was the urgency. This wasn't just relic recovery, it was a race against fading evidence and legal hurdles that could make or break their claim. Securing the chain of custody became paramount. Every photograph snapped, every signature signed, traced a path from past to present. The miner's legacy wasn't just in these golden grains. It was locked in paperwork, permits, and mining titles tangled in red tape. One wrong move could send decades of effort spiraling into dispute and lost fortune. The tension tightened as they prepared to transport the drums under strict surveillance. Questions gnawed at them. Was this stash complete? Could other drums be hidden deeper within the hull's labyrinth? And most importantly, would the concentrates retain their purity after all these years submerged in cold river water and ice? Each answer seemed to spark more mysteries than solutions. Back on shore, experts examined samples with microscopes and chemical tests, revealing astonishing concentrations of gold far beyond initial estimates. The ore's quality suggested a vein untouched since the dredge ceased operations, a final payday concealed beneath rust and sediment. But could these findings hold up in court and market? The implications were staggering. Not only financial windfall but vindication for those who believed the dredge still held secrets. Amidst these discoveries, an unexpected complication surfaced. The dredge ownership papers were incomplete, buried in archives half forgotten by time. Legal advisors pored over faded documents, while historians pieced together fragmented accounts from miners long gone. The question hung heavy. Who truly owned this ghost ship and its hidden cargo? Meanwhile, rumors swirled in local mining circles. Some whispered that rival claimants had tried to sabotage salvage efforts or file competing claims. A shadow war played out behind closed doors as alliances shifted with every new revelation. Could trust survive when millions hung in balance? As if to deepen the mystery, an old photograph surfaced showing a second drum being loaded onto a barge before the dredge was abandoned. Had some of the richest concentrates already been removed? Or was it part of a deliberate cover-up to mislead future prospectors? The team faced a chilling possibility that what they held might be only a fragment of a larger fortune lost forever. Yet, amid uncertainty, one breakthrough shone bright. A nearby smelting facility agreed to process a test batch under unprecedented conditions. The operation promised not only to confirm gold content, but to set records for purity and yield. Anticipation rippled through the crew as molten metal flowed from furnace to mold, gleaming like liquid sunlight. That moment felt like redemption for decades of neglect and doubt. But with triumph came new questions. How would this success reshape local mining history? Could it ignite fresh claims or conflicts over rights long dormant? And what did this mean for the legend of the Yukon Dredge itself, ghost ship or golden guardian? The drums remained carefully guarded as planning began for full-scale extraction and sale. Every step demanded precision. One misstep could destroy fragile evidence or invite legal battles anew. The balance between preserving history and capitalizing on fortune had never felt more precarious. Outside, winter whispered over frozen rivers and silent woods, hiding secrets beneath ice and snow. The dredge stood as both monument and enigma, caught between past glory and uncertain future. What else lay hidden beneath its rusted decks? Could another revelation be waiting just beyond reach? This story isn't just about gold or machines. It's about human obsession with discovery and the costs that come with chasing ghosts long buried by time. Are you ready to uncover what comes next? Stay tuned as we dive deeper into this mystery, where every layer peeled reveals more questions than answers. Don't miss Part 3, where legends collide with reality, and the true value of that ancient treasure finally comes into focus. The moment they cracked open the rusted hatch, the real treasure revealed itself. Hidden gold concentrates trapped for decades. The air was thick with dust and anticipation as the salvage team peered inside the ghostly dredge's belly. Years of sediment, mingled with flecks of shimmering metal, lay undisturbed beneath layers of time. This wasn't just a forgotten relic. It was a vault of history and fortune intertwined. The initial paperwork had been just the beginning, a tedious search for a valid mining title that would legitimize any claim. But here, in this corroded drum concealed by the hull, was something far more tangible. The crew's hands trembled slightly as they handled the samples, careful not to disturb the fragile chain of custody. Every gram mattered. Every speck could tip the balance between myth and fact. This wasn't a simple salvage operation anymore. It had morphed into a race against skepticism and bureaucracy. The question hung in the air. Could these concentrates really prove that the dredge had extracted gold worth millions? The archival photos showed the vessel's heyday, but now those faded images collided with reality in this cramped hold. The silence was broken only by muffled footsteps and hushed whispers, each person aware that history was being rewritten in this forgotten corner of Yukon. As the samples were cataloged and sealed, an unexpected challenge surfaced. A dispute over ownership rights threatened to stall everything. It seemed some parties believed the gold should belong to them, based on decades-old claims that had never been fully resolved. The tension rose sharply. Legal counsel stepped in, turning what was once a straightforward salvage into a labyrinth of negotiations and paperwork. Each document signed felt like a victory, but also a reminder of how fragile this newfound promise was. Despite setbacks, the team pressed on, driven by something deeper than profit. There was a collective urge to honor those who had toiled in these frozen landscapes long ago, their efforts immortalized not only in stories but now in tangible gold. As days blurred into nights filled with strategy sessions and cautious optimism, a new question emerged. What would happen once this historic treasure entered modern markets? The decision to send samples to a specialized refinery was both strategic and symbolic. Refining would unlock answers, not only about purity but also about provenance. If these concentrates passed scrutiny, it would validate decades of speculation and perhaps even rewrite aspects of Yukon's mining legacy. The atmosphere tightened with every assay result transmitted back from the lab, each figure more promising than the last. When finally the gold was melted down into bars bearing record purity levels, an almost reverent silence fell over everyone present. This was more than metal. It was closure for a story that had haunted prospectors and historians alike. The myth of the ghost dredge transformed from legend into verified fact, shining under harsh fluorescent lights instead of fading into obscurity. Yet even as celebrations began quietly among the core team, lingering questions remained unanswered. How much more lay hidden beneath layers of ice and forgotten contracts? Could this be just one chapter in a larger saga waiting to unfold? The faint creak of old timbers stirred, as if inviting them to look deeper, to continue peeling back layers of history embedded in Yukon's rugged terrain. This rescue wasn't just about reclaiming lost gold. It sparked renewed interest in exploring other abandoned sites, where time had locked away secrets too long ignored.